would like to travel and take that journey with you. So hope to see you very soon. Thank you very much.
Welcome everyone to the 9th round clash between Divya Deshmukh with the black pieces taking on Rakshita Ravi. Divya is the leader at the World Junior Girls 2024 and her opponent Rakshita is a WGM. They both have actually grown up together in the world of chess, but Divya right now has the IM title, Rakshita the WGM title, and this is a very crucial round because Divya is currently on 7 points while Rakshita is on 6.5. There is a pack of players on 6.5 following Divya, and she would like to keep her lead intact. You can see that Divya is in good spirits before the game, and we are about to get going now. Rakshita has the white pieces, Divya is black. 90 minutes for 40 moves followed by 30 minutes for the remaining games, and they shake hands for the remaining moves, and they shake hands and the game has begun. Let's see what Rakshita chooses as her opening move. Rakshita comes from a family of titled players. Her mother is a WIM, her father is an IM. Divya, on the other hand, is in great form. She plays the French defense. She's fresh from her victory at Sharjah Challengers, and anything less than a gold medal here wouldn't be such a great result for her. So she is gunning for that top spot. D5 played. The French has become quite an important opening these days, even at a top level. So players do come prepared, but Divya is not an entirely French player. She loves to play the Sicilian. Knight C3 played here. Will Divya go for Winawer? No, she goes Knight F6, which is more solid in nature. And here white has two moves, E5 and Bishop G5, what Rakshita has played. And Divya captures on E4. This line generally leads to a slightly plus position for white. That's because white now has more space with the D4 pawn. Also the bishop on C8 is difficult to develop here. So Bishop E7 played by Divya. And now Rakshita is thinking, because Knight takes E4 is a threat, she takes on F6. And this is a very typical idea. You give up your bishop because your knight in the center is very powerful and you don't want it to be raided for other pieces. So now after Bishop F6, the D4 pawn is attacked. So you just defend it with Knight F3 and you tell your opponent that I am very well developed and you have problems with your C8 bishop. So knight comes out to F3. And time wise, Divya is excellently prepared. As you can see, she has 1 hour 32 minutes. She quickly castles here. And what is Rakshita going to play next? I think a good idea here is to move your queen up and long castle. That's one way to play. The other idea is to play Bishop D3, just putting your bishop here, but then maybe there's some problems with the D4 pawn. So Queen D2 has been played by Rakshita. She is going for long castles here. And Divya now will see if she takes time on the clock or not, or is she still going to blitz it out. She goes B6. So she's still in her prep and she's trying to solve the problem of the bishop here. That will come to B7. But first of all, you have to long castle. I think that's just the most natural move. And Rakshita taking some good time for her moves now. She is clearly out of her preparation. So she is making sure that she's sure about what her moves ought to be. So castles here, long castle on the board. 1 hour 25 minutes for Rakshita, 1 hour 33 minutes for Divya. She goes Bishop B7 and attacks the knight here. One way to continue is Bishop D3. The reason why this is okay now and Bishop takes D4 does not work is that after take, Knight G5, there's already too much pressure here. So she does go Bishop D3. Wow, that's on the board now. Taking the pawn would be a mistake. Let's see how Divya reacts here and whether she will be out of her prep. 1 hour 23 minutes for Rakshita and Divya has 1 hour 33 minutes. She quickly goes Knight D7 and you can see she still has 1 hour 33 minutes. H4 played here. So an aggressive decision, already a very useful move because the knight can jump to G5 and then try to attack on the king side. Now black's main ideas revolve around the move C5. So Divya is trying to engineer it with the move Rook C8. She wants to play C5, but it's not a move that can be very safe because the rook stands opposite to the queen. So a nice move would be Queen E3. Then C5 becomes very difficult to execute, especially with some Bishop H7 and problems down the D file. So let's see what Rakshita plays. She goes Queen F4. She doesn't move her Queen to E3. She goes Queen F4. And can Divya now play C5 is the question. Is it a good move? She can come back and think now because it's 1 hour 33 minutes that she has on the clock. And Divya thinks for just 2 minutes and pushes C5. So she's showing a lot of confidence here in the position. And if D takes C5, there is Bishop takes E4, Queen E4 and G6, which is playable, and Knight C5. So this is the line, but actually Rakshita goes Knight E5. And Divya simply chops that knight off. Bishop takes E5. And I guess D5 has to be played. Yes, she takes. And what is black going to do next? She pushes her pawn to C4. That's a nice move. pushing the bishop away. The rook on c8 is doing a good job here. And Rakshita brings her bishop back to e2. Now there's some pressure down here. And if you play, by the way, queen c7, then the knight would jump into the d6 square. So it's important to get rid of this knight on e4. So bishop takes e4 does make a lot of sense here. She does take it, bishop e4. And now queen takes e4. The most natural and logical move here is queen c7. Your knight is pinned here. You want to get it out of the pin. So queen c7 seems like the best move. Yes, played queen c7. Now the e5 pawn is attacked. So a logical idea could be f4. And white should be fine. The other idea is to put rook d6 here. But instead, she goes for bishop c4. And her point is, if you take the bishop, I'll trade the queens first. And then I'll take the knight. But this allows Divya to take on e5. And somehow, black's position does look a little more well coordinated. Pressure on the c2 pawn. Bishop a6 is a good move, but bishop b3 played. How will Divya continue next? She plays a knight to d7. Very interesting move. So Divya is preparing to put her knight on either f6 or c5. And a sacrifice like bishop e6 does not really work because of take and king h8. You can't take on d7. There's a mate on c2. So the move played is queen e3 now. And do you go knight c5? No, goes b5. So Divya slowly is trying to create pressure with her pawns on the queen side. Rook comes up to d4. I'm not really sure what the rook is doing there. Maybe she wants to just double the rooks or maybe swing them over to g4. And Divya plays very logically with the move a5. Time-wise, she's doing excellently. She has 58 minutes, 24 minutes, 18 minutes in fact for Rakshita. So she's 40 minutes behind on the clock. Let's see how Divya now continues. The knight is attacked. She plays her knight to c5. Slowly and steadily, the pressure on white mounts. a4 is the threat. So c3 played, trying to get the bishop to c2 on this long diagonal. Should you take this bishop or not? Well, Divya says, I don't want to. She goes a4. The bishop comes back to c2. And it's important now to push your pawn to a3. Yes, because otherwise white would go a3 and all the black pawns would be a bit locked up. a3 played here by Divya and b4 by Rakshita. The position is getting very, very sharp. Now c3 is weak. So Divya plays her knight to a4, threatening the c3 pawn. You want to play c4, but there is e5, which is very strong. So goes queen d3, threatening a mate in 1, nothing less. And Divya just goes g6. Now, how do you defend against the c3 pawn is the question. So she first takes on a4, picks up the knight. And Divya takes here. Now her pawns are completely doubled. These are two passed pawns. But thank God there's a middle game before the end game. Otherwise, white is utterly lost. Now king g2 played. King c2, defending the c3 pawn. And Divya pushes the rook away with e5. A good move is rook d5 or even rook e4 seems like a good idea. Black should be okay, but white should also be fine. Let's see where Rakshita moves her rook. She already is quite low on time. She comes down to 5 minutes. She plays rook d6, which is an error because she's missed Divya's next move, which is a very powerful move. Let's see if Divya finds it. Yes, she does. Queen b7, attacking b4 because the pawn is pinned, and also the g2 pawn. So it's a double attack here and a fantastic double attack that puts white under huge pressure. King b1 played, and down to 2 minutes 49 seconds now. Divya simply goes in and chops off the pawn on g2. She's not really concerned about her king or anything because it's a juicy pawn, and the f2, h4 pawns are also weak. King is very safe on